modern society, that would be closer to the right meaning. And the pronunciation of the word that you were looking for is fraud. Not fraud, but fraud. Odd. It's a little bit unusual vowel sound. Corey, where is Corey? There you are. I liked your speech very much. I agree with your evaluator that you could have chosen a more clever title. I think that would have completed your speech perfectly. I have a few other suggestions for you. You said, I was been in love with painting. And that's a mixture of two different tenses. So you can say either I was in love with painting or I have been in love with painting. What is the difference between those two meanings?
I don't love it anymore.
You still love it, or?
Right, exactly. If I say I have been in love with painting, it means I started to love painting in the past and I have loved painting continuously up until now. If I say I loved painting in the past, then it means I used to love painting, but I don't love painting anymore. You also said I can spend my imagination with a carefree mind. We don't use the verb spend with imagination. You could say use. I use my imagination. The famous British author, his name is pronounced Geoffrey Chaucer, but it's with a G, not like my name. And at the end of your speech, you said you had something on the slide that I liked very much, and your evaluator also commented on it. You said that college life is like painting on a canvas. I thought that was a very wonderful metaphor. Thank you for sharing that. Also, at the bottom of that last slide, you said, "Thank you for your listening." We wouldn't say "thank you for your listening." We might say either "thank you for listening" or "thank you for your attention." But actually, in Toastmasters, they recommend that you not say anything like that, but rather just finish your speech and return control to the Toastmaster of the evening. The thinking being that it's actually the audience's privilege to listen to you, so you don't need to thank the audience just for paying attention. But a very good speech. I liked it very much. Oh, very interesting speech. It's one of the more unique speeches that I have heard in Toastmasters. Most people's speeches, I know the point that they are trying to make after the first 30 seconds or 1 minute. But your speech, the whole time I was wondering where is this going? But then I wouldn't ordinarily suggest that someone give a speech like that, but it actually worked well in your situation, and I found it very interesting because I was concentrating so hard trying to figure out what point you were trying to make, and then at the end it came clear. So thank you for that interesting way of preparing a speech. I have a few suggestions about the grammar. You said of your friend, who turned out not to be a real person, that he said, "Only in my good mood would I do this." Instead of saying that, I would say, "I would only do this if I were in a good mood." We say of people that they are in a certain mood. If I was in a good mood, I would do this. And also, trash is not a countable noun. There's just a lot of trash, not several trashes. No such word as trashes. Eileen? Where's Eileen? Also a very interesting speech. I have some friends from Canada that would appreciate your speech very much. They're always telling me how much better Canada is than the United States. You can share some of your evidence with them. Early in your speech, you said, "My only impression on Canada." With impression, we always use of. My impression of Canada, my impression of the United States, my impression of my friend. You also said if you were carrying your umbrella, no one would thought me strange. I would say no one thought that I was strange. No one thought that I was strange. You also said that Americans refer to indigenous peoples as Indians, whereas Canadians refer to them as First Nations. There are other words that we use in the United States to refer to those people. You can also call them Native Americans or indigenous peoples. But many Americans do call them Indians, which is thought to be kind of disrespectful. During the transition between speakers, someone said that they were studying economy, but the subject, the academic subject, is called economics. I am studying economics. Countries have an economy, but the academic subject is economics. I learned a new word myself in Alvin's speech. I had to ask him about it later. I guess it's from Japanese. I would die of karoshi. I've never heard of that before, but when I get back home, I'll look in my dictionary and see if it's made it into English yet or not. But it's an interesting word. I also think that I heard you say that with these other skills, you can pass the interviewer. The interviewer is the person that you are speaking to, but the process is the interview. So you would like to pass the interview, not the interviewer. And you said that the interviewer will have a deep impression of you. If I would say have a good impression of you or a strong impression of you. A deep impression could be either good or bad, and it's not really the word that we would use in that situation. And you also said at one point, seize the golden opportunity, where you meant to say seize. To seize, S-E-I-Z-E, is to grab something. Size is how big or small something is. I see the red board, but very briefly during the evaluation session, I believe it was Stanley said, you loved the painting when you were in elementary school. We wouldn't say the, since we're talking about the action painting, we would just say you loved painting when you were a child. And he also said, I very love your speech. We don't use very with love except to say love very much. I loved your speech very much. I liked your speech very much. Daniel, you said of the person you were evaluating, I forget who it was, that they done a very good speech. For speaking, the verb that I would use is gave or give. I am giving a speech. He gave a speech. And finally, Jocelyn said of the person she was evaluating, I think your speech can separate it into three parts. We would always use the helping verb be in that case. Your speech can be separated into three parts. Okay, I'm way over time, so I will return control to the Toastmaster of the evening. Thank you.